Combs and Sherman proceeded to brutally abuse and violate the plaintiff. Combs mercilessly raped. I can't even read this, dude. Both men were undeterred by plaintiff's cries for help throughout the attack. Hogtied this whole time. Screaming, crying, vomiting, hogtied. And right about now, I'm pretty sure Diddy's probably regretting videotaping that entire incident. That's why I told you when he got raided and they got the hard drives, they're going to bury this dude. So Justin Bieber has been going through it. There are some photographs that came out of him from New York yesterday, and he is not looking good, dude. Like, he looks gaunt. He looks like he's not sleeping. He looks like he's furious. I've never seen a person that I consider to be so, like, not formidable look so like, whoa, dude, you better keep your distance from that guy. You know, he looks like a nuclear bomb that's about to go off, but at the same time, like he hasn't slept in 2 weeks, you know? So we'll look at those and then we'll talk about why there's apparently stuff having to do with his family that's just piling on, but it's all piling on due to what we know is highly likely to have happened to him with the Diddy thing and this, like, you know, speaking of nuclear bombs, like this potential nuclear bomb video that would come out of it. But the other thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to start with because I want to make sure everybody sees this. And again, like if I remember, I'll put a timestamp in for the Justin Bieber portion. However, if I don't, I'm telling you, you need to hear this story about Diddy because this changes everything for me at least. And it's the out of all of the accusations against Diddy, this is the most like this one's the one where I'm like, okay, like even a drop of empathy that I had for him in terms of where he's ended up, or even like any doubts I've ever had at all where I'm like, maybe some of these are dude, this guy is the worst human being on earth. And the reason I can say that now is because this one is on video and it reframes the entire thing because not only is this accusation on video, but this is an accusation from a girl who everyone had dismissed as a liar. Now, how could everyone dismiss any of the accusers as a liar? That's an excellent question, right? You're like, there's so many accusations. Like, why could someone just be like, okay, well, that girl's lying, all right? Everyone assumed she was lying, and we'll go through why, and then I'm going to reframe that for you completely. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. I appreciate you guys very much. That's all I ask. If you watch my content, you know, consistently, just please click subscribe. It takes 1 second and like the video and then go ahead and ring the bell if you want to know every single time that I upload. All right. So let me show you who I'm talking about. Okay. So this right here is Thalia Graves. Okay. So Thalia Graves is, the one who supposedly had offered a bribe to her ex-partner to have him back her story of grape against Diddy, right? So obviously, right, you hear a story like that, and you're going to assume, she's not telling the truth. This is her sitting next to Gloria Allred, right? And we're going to watch some of this too. But like, you know, once you find out that there is in fact a video of the incident, it reframes it completely. And you're like, okay, so, and then when you hear exactly what he did, you're like, okay, so let's change our framing of this. Maybe she was like, I need for my life for this guy to be held accountable for what he did. And I'm willing to do anything because no one's going to believe me otherwise. Right. And I'll tell you right now, anything you have to do to hold this guy accountable for this, you should do. Now, I'll tell you also, before we get into, this article and the details, the reason that this particular case was high on my radar is because I just watched the HBO Max documentary about Diddy. Look, I'll show you what it looks like. Fall of Diddy. And that came out 2 days ago on like HBO Max. This is what it looks like. And I encourage people to go watch that, but I'm going to give you I can't believe I'm going to say this, trigger warning that when you hear that woman tell her own story, you are going to want to take the nearest sharp thing and walk, if you have to New York so that you can slide it straight into the most painful part of Diddy's body that you could possibly find. So I'm going to walk you through what's public in this article, and then I'm going to tell you what actually happened because she goes in heavy detail into this in the documentary. So it says, Graves, a 25-year-old dating Combs' employee, was allegedly seduced by Combs and Sherman. They gave her a drug-laced drink, causing her to lose consciousness. Graves alleged that Combs and Sherman bullied her into keeping the incident under wrap, as reported by The Blast. Thalia Graves claimed Diddy recorded and sold a grape incident. Graves discovered the alleged recordings in late 2023, which was 22 years after this happened. Around the same time, her ex-partner Cassandra Ventura settled her assault lawsuit against the rapper. Graves, who was left devastated by the tapes, considered ending her life. So he recorded this and sold it. Okay. So now let me tell you what he actually did. Okay. Verified by the tape. So she was dating an employee of Diddy's, right? And so he knew her, and she was around, right? And there were a couple times when her boyfriend had made mistakes at work and Diddy had really gotten on him. And then Diddy had actually gone to her to talk to her about helping him shape up, whatever, some grooming thing that was meant to build a relationship so that he could then isolate her later like he did. So they'd had multiple conversations about how she could contribute to helping her boyfriend kind of shape up, right? So one day Diddy calls her, okay? And again, she's 25 years old. She's like, that's pretty fresh out of college. And he's like, hey, and it's Diddy. This is Diddy calling her, okay? Like, not the current Diddy. This is Diddy, like superstar Diddy calls and says, hey, I really trust your opinion. I think you could be really helpful here. We're going to come by and pick you up. I want to talk to you about, whatever, her boyfriend, right? And she's like, okay, great. So she comes and gets picked up. He gives her a drink. And she says that, she voluntarily took the drink. He was like, hey, you want one? She's like, sure. So he gives her the drink. She drinks it and blacks out. Okay. She wakes up in a studio. I think it was a studio or some kind of room that she, obviously didn't walk herself into. Hogtied, nude and hogtied. And she wakes up and she can't figure out what's going on. Like, she wakes up and she's like, what the hell's going on? Try to imagine that, by the way. Okay. Like, try to imagine that. I don't put yourself too heavily into this girl's experience right now, because it's hard for me to think about it, dude. So she wakes up, and how, like, sometimes you wake up and you don't know where you are, and you're like, wait, where am I? And you're like, oh wait, we're in a hotel room. Oh wow, we're in Mexico on vacation, or you're even in your own room, and you're like, wait, what? Okay, whatever. So imagine that, except you wake up and you're hogtied and naked somewhere. Not a place that you put yourself. You have no idea where you are, right? Hogtied. She starts looking around and she sees Diddy, who's butt naked, okay? And he's, lube. So he starts walking over to her and she's like screaming, obviously. And he goes, I don't know what the right way to say this is. He goes top shelf, right? Like, you got two, you go behind a girl, you got two options, right? Of where you can put yourself in. And one of them is the way that you have babies. The other one, if unprepared, is probably the most painful thing you can do to a person, right? One of them. And he just goes whap straight in the top, dude. And she said that she immediately vomited. She said it hurt so much she puked. Like, because he just bang. And she vomited on the table, right? And then she's screaming. She said she was screaming at the top of her lungs while covered in vomit. And he's just... And when you listen to her tell the story, it is so, like... It's insane, dude. It's one of these things where... Again, I think the reason why I hold on to... maybe these guys, maybe he didn't do it. And I hold on to this way too long, as I have learned in my own life recently, giving people the benefit of the doubt who do not and never did deserve the fucking benefit of the doubt. And the reason for that is because I can't put myself in a position of someone who would do that. And so it's just like unfathomable to me, and I say this all the time because I realize this is actually a problem for me. In these types of situations is I realize I am slow to believe victims, dude. And as much as I sometimes am like, okay, well, sometimes there are serious credibility problems with the victim, okay? I realize I've been hard defending Conor McGregor, and I stand by all of that. Because in that case, the victim has demonstrated to have been a stone, bold-faced liar. She also is blocking the video footage and all of that. You're all, why would you block video footage if you have nothing to hide? Anyway, it's neither here nor there. That's an isolated, different kind of incident. Even in one where it's just purely he said, she said, I tend to kind of be like, I don't know, dude. And it's because I can't get myself to believe a human would do that to another person, even though I know it happens, but I just can't get there. Okay. And I mean, Diddy did this, dude. It's on video. And so now anything that you hear about this, the most monstrous stuff, like these are not cash grabs, dude. This guy fucking did this. Hogtied her, drugged her, and then, I mean, because is what we're describing right there, is that about sex? Is that a sex thing that we're talking about? Is that a thing? That's something, is that what that's about? That's about psychotic domination, control, like torture, right? My guess about this, and it's not done, by the way. Then, when she thinks it's over, he like walks away and she's trying, like at this point, she said she couldn't scream or talk. She's like trying to scream and nothing's coming out. She thinks it's over. He just cleans up a little bit and then comes back, and then he goes into the other one, like the other one. Round 2. He recorded this and sold it, dude. He sold that video. So, I mean, again, so it's probably, I mean, I don't know, probably, but likely the dude that works for him did something that really pissed him off. So that's what he did. Now she ended up getting out. She escaped. Like, he didn't like let her go. She escaped. And she said she was running down the street covered in vomit and like drool and whatever. And she called a cab driver that she knew. And he came and got her. And she said that when she got into the cab, he was like, what the fuck happened to you? He took her to the hospital, and she thought about it, and she's like, I can't go to the hospital, cause like those types of injuries, you're going to have to tell him what happened. And she was terrified because she thought he would kill her, as would anyone given that situation. And also she didn't want her parents to find out and, be embarrassed or whatever. And, again, so she didn't report it. And the way that this ended up coming out again is because there was a fucking video of it. And so you start thinking about that and just imagine how many times this guy probably did that. You know what I mean? Like all these stories. Oh, he threw me in the back of a whatever and then do it, whatever. You're like, come on. He fucking did it, dude. And now I want to, like, now that you know that, okay? Now that you know that, I want you to watch this little press conference with her and Gloria Allred so you can actually hear some of this, because this happened,
And with me is our client, plaintiff Thalia Graves. Today we filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, for our client, plaintiff Thalia Graves, who is given permission to use her name. The case number of the 26-page complaint.
Oh, real quick, I can see that it's out of the frame, but this is from Fox 11, Los Angeles. Actually, I'll just put it up right there. You have to credit the the clips that you use. So there you go.
Is 1:24-CV-07-201. In her lawsuit, Thalia, through her attorneys, sues Sean Diddy Combs, also known as the defendant, and another individual and other entities. The complaint alleges in part, in the first cause of action, that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a, quote, violation of New York City Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act by viciously and violently forcing sexual contact, oral and sexual intercourse on the plaintiff, end quote. In addition, the complaint alleges in the second cause of action that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a violation of New York civil rights law, quote, section 52-B, end quote, by, quote, raping plaintiff and recording it. Defendants caused plaintiff to be depicted in a video image, unclothed and with intimate body parts exposed, and engaged in sexual conduct with another person, end quote. The lawsuit also alleges that, quote, defendant Combs and another defendant published and or disseminated the videos without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. On information and belief, defendants have continued to disseminate the video, including by selling it as pornography through the present, end quote. In our complaint, we ask that, quote, defendants should be ordered to account for and destroy all copies of the video that are in their actual or constructive possession, custody, or control, end quote.
See right here, this is it's a September 24th, 11th lawsuit, accuses him of rape. So this says around the same time he was served with a new lawsuit from a woman who claims Combs and his bodyguard had drugged, bound, and violently raped her in 2001 and later showed a video of the attack to others. What a gem, dude. And then if you wanted to see this is the actual lawsuit. Okay, so I don't know why it won't stop. Like, just stop. Let me read this. Okay, so it's like, it's pause. Okay. In or around the summer of 2001, plaintiff's life was violently knocked off course when defendant Sean Combs and Joe Thalia raped her at the Bad Boy Record studio in New York City. Plaintiff was nearly 25 at the time. During one of Combs' employees' relationship with Combs, exploited to lure plaintiff into visiting him and Sherman alone. Once they successfully sequestered the plaintiff, Combs and Sherman gave plaintiff a drink likely laced with drugs that eventually caused her to briefly lose consciousness. She awoke to find herself bound and restrained. Combs and Sherman proceeded to brutally assault and abuse and violate the plaintiff. Combs mercilessly raped her anally and vaginally. Sherman forcefully slammed plaintiff onto the table, slapped her, and repeatedly thrust his meat into her mouth. Both men were undeterred by the plaintiff's cries for help throughout the attack. Plaintiff never recovered from the defendant's violent rape, suicidal thoughts and ideation, and has received extensive psychological because of the defendant's attack. For decades, she remained silent, did not, yada, yada. Any progress has been, yeah. It's just unbelievable, dude. All right. So now let's move over to the Justin Bieber story because I need to get this done so that I can cover a certain MMA fighter who made some of the most insane comments any professional athlete has ever made in the history of professional sports. And Dana White is already coming out against it. And I mean, like, he's gonna pay for this one, dude. This is you can't say what he said straight up. You know, Bryce Mitchell, he made a big mistake. So we're going to get into that after I film this one. But anyway, so the real reason that Justin Bieber looks stressed in New York, his wife Haley desperately tries to help him. Okay, so again, let me just show you what he looks like, dude. So that's one picture of him. Here's the other one. You want to know what he looks like to me, dude? He looks like he has not slept in a very long time. And he also looks like if you just kind of poked him, he would explode on you. Like, he looks very, very, very run down and very much not good. And also, why do you wear your pants like that, bro? You know, pull up your pants. It's just weird. Anyway, I'm like 100 years old now. I'm all, geez, all these kids, pull up your pants. You look ridiculous. Okay, so Justin Bieber's, and obviously I think I've made this clear from the jump that I believe that it's Justin Bieber on that tape, the A-list celebrity tape. And I don't know, you know, I feel terrible for the kid because he probably knows there is a video of Diddy, you know, doing that to him. You know, maybe it wouldn't look like it's taken by force, but obviously through disgusting coercion, you know. But anyway, I just can't even imagine what that would feel like to be in his position, just terrified that was going to come out. But Justin Bieber's deep-seated worry about being in public is to blame for his concerning appearance in New York City this week, which further exacerbated growing fears for the well-being of Justin Bieber. The singer looked uncomfortable wearing baggy yellow hoodie, ill-fitting beige trousers during an outing in Manhattan on Wednesday. The images came amid reports that his, quote, unacceptable behavior has put a strain on his marriage to wife Hailey, who is said to have been in constant battle with her husband over his refusal to listen to her concerns about him. So I guess in 2018, like, Justin was in a really bad spot doing drugs, and he like locked himself away and became like a straight up like agoraphobic recluse. So now they're saying it's a result of being borderline reclusive after struggling with the idea of big crowds or mixing with strangers after years of being in the spotlight. Justin's been struggling for the last couple of years, and a significant part of that is down to his worry about being in certain public situations. He's built up a deep fear of being in public spaces where there's a lot of people and a deep-seated worry about large crowds. Gee, I wonder why. I mean, I think it's more like he has a healthy concern about being in public. Like, he's one of the most famous people in the world. I have said this 100 million times, and I will continue to say it until I don't have a platform anymore when I'm dead, because it's like, dude, everyone thinks that they want global fame, right? You want to be globally famous. No, you do not. Not like that, dude. You don't want to be that famous. You might want a modicum of fame, and it depends on the circumstances of why you're famous, but to be as famous as Justin Bieber is a nightmare. Every single place he goes. Like, just try to imagine, right? Try to imagine that everywhere that you went, you were wearing like this large like beacon on your head that was like flash, 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 flash. And everywhere you went, every single person was just like, and then everybody wants to come and take a picture of you with the beacon on your head. You think you'd want to probably take off the beacon, right? Well, you can't. It's your face. Your face is the beacon, Oh my God, it's Justin Bieber. Oh my God. And every single person wants a picture. So literally every single person that you see in public, everyone, not with no exceptions, wants something from you. Everyone, or I guess maybe like even the people who aren't even Justin Bieber fans, it's still cool to have a picture with Justin Bieber. Now, I have a hard policy against asking people for pictures, except for the most like very, very like extreme situations, depending on circumstance. Like when the sheriff of Baghdad ended up at my jiu-jitsu gym the fucking same day I'd just been live streaming, I'm like, that's too much. And I told, he's also not that famous where I feel bad asking for a picture. We're sitting there talking anyway. I snapped a picture with him. But aside from that, like, I just don't like doing it because I don't know. It's just like it's just weird to me, like I love meeting people, and if we're buddies, I'll take pictures, but nonetheless, I would still like to have that picture. I just socially don't want to like bother them and make myself look like a weirdo fan, so I don't do it. Even though I love taking pictures with people, for the record, don't take that the wrong way. If I see you in public, you're a fan of my channel, I am happy to take pictures all day long. I am just like, I'm always like concerned that I'm going to bother them, even though it doesn't bother me at all when people come up and ask me for pictures. But again, my situation is very different. Like I have a certain level of fame in like very, very small circles. Like I go to a UFC, a lot of people know who I am. If I go to the grocery store, every once in a while, I'll see someone that's like, Jesse on fire, I love your channel. Jiu-jitsu, it's kind of like in between. Like go to a jiu-jitsu tournament, there's a fair number of people who know who I am, but it's not like whatever. Nonetheless, there's no comparison to what Justin Bieber deals with. The only reason, again, I just bring that up because I don't want anybody to see this and think that I'm not approachable if you see me in person. Definitely come up to me, say hi, we'll chat, take a picture if you want. I welcome that, dude. But Bieber, I was just trying to illustrate the point that like everyone wants something from him, and I just can't even imagine how draining that is, dude. Now, if you tack on the fact now that he's having marital problems, imagine what it's like to be married to him right now, dude. You got this fucking looming nightmare of the Diddy thing, looming over your head. He knows. Now, if we assume, okay, now I don't know for sure that the A-list celebrity, male A-list celebrity that's a bigger star than Bieber, confirmed by multiple news outlets, that's in a video having sex with Diddy And they're not saying who it is because they might have been a minor in the video. Okay. Like, I mean, I'm making a leap here, but I don't think the leap is very far. I think I'm jumping from lily pad to lily pad that's probably Justin Bieber. And so if you know that that's floating around and you're Justin Bieber, just imagine the terror. Imagine how humiliated you would feel. He's not gay. You know what I mean? Like the idea of being like kind of tricked and like convinced to do something you don't want to do by like a guy that plays a power card on you is humiliating. And what's the ultimate thing that they could have you do if that would demonstrate that you're not your own man and you're not strong? That you let a man convince you to have sex with them and you're not even gay? What could possibly be a more emasculating thing than that? And that's exactly why Diddy does it. That's exactly why he does it. In my opinion. I mean, listen, I'm not going to make it a hobby to just keep hammering the same person, but you know, like I have no tolerance at all for people who commit these kinds of crimes at all. None. And recently in my own kind of orbit, obviously not in my own like main household, not that family, but like, you know, kind of not that far outside my own house, you know, there's been a recent revelation that is like, I cannot believe that this happened that close to me, you know? It's one of those things. I already had no tolerance. Now I really have no tolerance. Fucking none, dude. Zero tolerance. I mean, obviously, and no one should have any tolerance for this, but like, you know, but again, I don't know, this like, I don't care at all what people do in the bedroom. At all. None. God, no, me and Gabrielle are in no position to judge how kinky you want to get with your partner, dude. Believe me. And as long as everybody is a willing participant in all of it, I don't care at all. Anyway, that's what I got. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Peace.